Welcome to the Commission's September 18th Planning Board meeting. Welcome from, this is our first meeting at.
Meeting of the full commission.
Oh, pardon.
Not planning board, meeting of the full commission.
Meeting of the full commission, sorry. I hope everyone had a great summer. This is our first meeting after the summer break. So we'll start out with respect to the agenda. I have couple of items I want to move around here. The 1C is the controlled substance policy definition change. I'd like to move that down under action and presentation items. And then I'd also like to move the closed meeting portion to the end of our open meeting session today. So if there are no other comments or changes, do I have a motion for the consent agenda, which is the approval of the revised commission meeting agenda and the resolution number 24-20 adoption of the Great Seneca Plan?
So move.
Seconded.
All in favor? Is there a roll call?
Yes, sorry, who made the motion, please?
Commissioner Giraldo.
Bailey seconded.
Yes.
Roll call. Chair Harris.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartlett. Is that a thumbs up? I did.
Thumbs up.
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Hedrick.
Aye.
Commissioner Linden.
Aye.
Commissioner Pettaway.
Aye.
Vice Chair Shapiro.
Aye.
Commissioner Bailey.
Aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Commissioners Dorner and Washington are absent today. That's 8-0. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next is the approval of the commission meetings, the minutes of the open session, July 17th, 2024. Do I have a motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Giraldo, second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Chair Harris.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartley.
Aye.
Commissioner Hedrick.
Aye.
Commissioner Linden.
Aye.
Commissioner Pettaway.
Aye.
Vice Chair Shapiro.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Bailey.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
8-0. Thank you.
Our next item is general announcements. This month, we're celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month and also the National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. For your information, we're going to item number 4, committee and board reports. In the package today, there is one, the 4A, the Employees Retirement System Board of Trustees regular meeting minutes from July 2nd, 2024. For your information, if there are questions or comments on that, if not, we'll move on to the next item. Hearing no questions or comments, we'll go to item number 6, action and presentation items. The first one is presented by Mr. Spencer.
Uh-oh.
And I'm presenting the resolution for wage increases for FOP and for command staff and cadets. As you may recall, in the early spring, we had an impasse, which FOP declared an impasse during our negotiations. And that required for us to go into arbitration. We went into arbitration June 11th and 12th, and the arbitrator made a decision, or rendered a decision in favor of the commission's position, which was essentially a 3.5 merit, and essentially it was a 3.5 COLA. We are requesting that that same COLA, which is the same that the general merit employees receive, and merit be provided to the command staff as well as to the FOP.
I have a question. Who is speaking? Because we can't see you and it's not showing up on the grid of presenters or attendees. Thanks.
I'm not too sure if they have one. It might be that's that they want to see that the dais then. Is there a forward facing camera?
No, sir.
In B.
So come to the dais.
Can you see me now? Yes, because I see myself. So, again.
I don't,
I don't
oh,
see-
okay, I see you. Oh, you're up.
I'm at the
Oh, okay.
dais.
Never mind, I see you now, Bill.
Okay. So basically, what I'm asking for is approval for the 3.5 and the 3.5 merit and essentially a 3.5 COLA for the FOP, and that be passed through to the command staff and cadets. It was the same that we had discussed earlier, that I had received approval from this body. And after we presented to the arbitrator ruled in favor of the commission. So with that, I request your approval. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer those questions in the following closed session.
So,
Bill, I have a question. This is Commissioner Giraldo. So it's a 3.5 to the base and then another 3.5 for cost of living for a total of 7?
Exactly. Basically, that's the same what that was approved for the general merit employees.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right.
so as the general counsel, so we're gonna vote on these separately, or can we do both at once?
Do both together.
Okay, so did you explain both or?
Yes.
Okay, great. Great. So do I have a motion to approve resolution 24-15 and 24-16 as presented by Mr. Spencer this morning?
So move.
I'll second, James.
Mr. Giraldo moved and Mr. Hedrick second. Do I have a motion and all in favor?
Chair Harris.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartley.
Aye.
Commissioner Hedrick.
Aye.
Commissioner Linden.
Aye.
Commissioner Pedowing.
Aye.
Vice Chair Shapiro.
But aye.
Commissioner Bailey.
But aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
8-0. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next item, 6B, benefits programs rate changes. Mr. Allen and Mrs. Donald will present that this morning.
Would you like them to sit at the dais so they can be seen?
Yes, please. If you,
Oh, are they online? Sorry.
She's online.
I am online.
okay, great.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Todd Allen, and I'm Director of HR. The bulk of the presentation will be by Jennifer McDonald, our Benefits Manager, who's done a great job. So I'm going to turn it right over to her to kick off the presentation.
Okay, good morning again. Jennifer McDonald, Benefits Manager, and I am presenting the rates for our 2025 calendar year benefit plans. I would like to go ahead and share my screen so we can follow along. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So each year we evaluate our plans. We take a look at our past experience. This is done in conjunction with our actuary Aon Consulting. As a refresher, our plans are either fully insured or self-insured. Our fully insured plans, there's a premium. The insurance carrier bears the risk. Then there are some plans that are self-insured where We manage the funds, we pay the claims, we bear the risk, but we do have a stop loss policy in place for claims that exceed a certain amount, which is currently 450,000. So Aon calculates the rates for our self-insured plans, whereas the vendors quote us their rates. We really don't have any leeway on changing the vendors for the fully insured plans. Aon does negotiate sometimes on our behalf, and they may bring the rates down a little bit, but pretty much we have not much control over the fully insured rates. So for 2025, we have some decreases and we have some increases. Let's start with the medical and prescription plans. The medical plans are increasing on average by 14.3% for 2025. The range is about from a 5.4% to a 21.7% increase for the prescription plan. I'm going to jump over to this screen, which gives you a high level. Let's see, it's cutting off somewhere. Here we go. So as I mentioned, our EPO plan has a 5.4% increase. Our point of service plan will see a 16.2% increase. For our retirees who are in the Medicare complement plan, they will see a 12.9% increase. For the prescription plan, 21.7% increase. And for our Kaiser plan, it's a 7.1% increase. I will go back to my presentation.
Jennifer, can we ask question now, or do you prefer
sure.
to ask later? This is Mitra asking.
Yes, Mitra, hi.
Hi, how are you? I'm just
fine.
wondering that is there any reason that the rate are so high for prescription and also for the individual plan? Is it based on last year usage, or is it based that our population employees are getting aged? Do we have any idea, or is it that the cost of the prescription or other things has gone up so high? 21% is a lot.
21% is a lot. And as you all know, there has been an increase, a significant increase in the use of the GLP-1 drugs, which are the drugs for diabetes and obesity, like the Ozempic and the Wegovy, Mounjaro, those types of drugs. So that has definitely contributed to the increase in the prescription drugs, along with the typical trend. As we all know, medical costs, prescription costs are going up. We do have, as Mitra said, we look back at the last 12, 24 months to take a look at our utilization. We have seen an increased number of large claimants, and a large claimant is any claim that is over, it used to be 50,000, now it's 100,000. So we have seen an increase in our large claimants. We have also seen an increase in our stop loss. I mentioned that we have a stop loss policy that protects us from high cost claims. The premiums for the stop loss has also increased. We are going to put that out to bid later this year to see if we can get decrease in the premiums for our stop loss. But basically, it is just trend, utilization, large claims, in our own experience, and the impact of the prescription drugs, specialty drugs, and the Ozempic, and what we call the GLP-1 drugs.
Yeah, it's interesting because I realize that we have that, but at the same time, you hear all the time in the news that they're trying to bring the diabetic prescription down, and they have done that. So those are not true statements that we hear in the news, that the administration is reducing and helping for the diabetics and other things. So I thought that it was a lot of push to bring the cost of prescription down, but in reality, it looks like it's not happening. Is that correct?
Well, there is a push, there is legislation to try to get the prices of drugs down. So it's going to take a while before that actually happens. Again, this is based on our experience from last year up through April, May of this year. So we have not seen the impact yet on our cost.
This is Bill Spencer. I want to just jump in. Because you've heard a lot about these weight loss drugs and how popular they become, that's also a heavy driver. So it's not just that they're being used for purposes of diabetes. It's really the significant increase has been really attributed to the popularity of weight loss drugs, and that's a heavy driver.
And Mitra, to your point, we are implementing a program in October to monitor and manage the use of those drugs for weight loss. So that should give us some savings. Members will have to go through a prior authorization process. There will be edits to weed out those individuals who are using the drug for off-label, for example, diabetes. So that should impact the amount that we are paying for these types of drugs.
Good morning, this is Todd. I wanted to slip in also the increase of specialty drugs for the high chronic conditions has been a challenge. In a moment, Jennifer's going to talk about how we are very sensitive to this increase being so significant, 21.7, and we partnered with McGeo to discuss this over several months, and we are recommending a strategy that we'll talk about in terms of tapping some of our excess reserves, not our reserves, but our excess reserves to reduce that impact to employees. So I just wanted to put that out there. In a moment, we'll talk about our strategy to help our employees with an offset to that increase.
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, because I was wondering that this increases in regard to actual dollar amount to employee, how much that would be.
Yeah, thank you so much for.
I don't know exactly what we are talking about.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mitra, later in my presentation, I will be able to share the exact dollar impact to our employees.
Okay, thanks.
Because I know when you throw out a percentage out there, it doesn't mean anything if you don't know what the actual dollars are.
Yeah. Okay,
so I will share that with you later. Okay, so for the medical and prescription,
Hands up.
Oh,
Can
sorry.
I throw a question real quick before we go on? The GLP, if the increase is in primarily prescription drugs and primarily the GLP-1 agonists, those are drugs that you take for your entire life. Those are lifelong drugs. You lose the benefits if you quit taking them. Do we have a plan for a perpetual increase in our costs? Because those are not drugs you go off of, particularly if you're taking it for its original purpose, which was type 2 diabetes. If you take it for weight loss, you lose the weight loss. It just comes back. If you stop taking it, if you take it for type 2 diabetes, you have to take it for your entire life, essentially. It's something that prevents the uses of insulin. So if we're seeing the increases.
We're not going to, if you're taking it for diabetes, that will continue. We are not going to make any changes for those individuals who are taking the drug for diabetes.
Yeah, but I mean the off-label. I mean, there aren't a lot of off-label uses for GLP-1 agonists other than, I mean, there not that I know of, but it was originally weight loss was an off-label use of the GLP-1s. And so if those are the considerations, then we should plan for having a perpetual increase in our prescription drug costs, because they're going to be approved for use in weight loss, and they are drugs that they're maintenance drugs. There's not drugs you can stop taking.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just that's a large increase to see, and have it attributed largely to prescription drugs that are then required to be used for a lifetime. So we're looking at an increase in the foundational floor of our cost for prescription drugs, and I think it's worthwhile to take a hard look at that cost over time.
Yeah, and it's,
I
of course,
agree
it's not
with the
just the
commissioner.
Mhm.
I agree with the commissioner on that point, but just to address Mitra's point,
Mhm.
when she said the administration said they're working on reducing the cost of, they have, the
Yeah,
insulin is now
but
capped.
insulin,
It's
yeah, but not
insulin.
it's insulin.
They
not
never
the
said it
GLP-1s.
was for the weight loss drugs that the people are using for weight loss. They capped the insulin.
But I
Right.
thought that weight loss, if it is just for the purpose of weight loss, is not approved because I know
It's a-
that a lot of people, they just want to do it for weight loss, but that shouldn't be paid under insurance. And I don't believe it is right now. I think that those medication that helps for diabetic and it is important for the health should be like plastic surgery or use things that you just want to lose weight, those shouldn't be paid on. Are we allowing that to be paid under our insurance?
So Commissioner Pettit, these are great questions, and you and Commissioner Hedrick brought up a couple great points, and staff will consider those as we move forward with this. But those are great questions, and definitely they will look through this as we go on to the next step, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'm just wondering that I don't think that the rest of the commission should be paying if people want to lose weight, but we should, and I know that a lot of insurance, they don't approve it. So I do not know if we are or not. I was wondering.
Yeah, duly noted, and we'll get back to you about the long-term piece around this. So if staff can continue their presentation, that would be great.
Yeah, so just to put it in perspective, last year, the premiums for our prescription plan was flat. In fact, the actuaries calculated a decrease of a percentage point. We kept the rates flat. So it's volatile right now. Last year was 0, this year 21.7%. And as Commissioner Harris indicated, we are putting plans into place to address this.
Thank you.
All right, where was I? Okay, so moving on to the other plans, we will not see any increases for our vision premium. There will be no increases for our dental plan. There will be a decrease in our life insurance plans for the basic life. And these rates are, most of them are guaranteed. For the vision plan, it's guaranteed through 2026. So no increases next 25 or 26 for the vision plan. No increases for the dental plans until 2020 through the end of 2028. Life insurance plans, it's decreasing by 7.6%. That's guaranteed through 2029. And for our supplemental and accidental death and dismemberment, again, rates remaining unchanged and guaranteed through 2029. For our disability plans, we will see a decrease of 9.8%, guaranteed through 2028. For the supplemental long-term disability, those premiums are decreasing by 10%, guaranteed through 2028. And rates for the administration of our sick leave bank will decrease slightly from $1.45 per member to $1.40, guaranteed through 2028. So as Todd mentioned earlier, we had discussions with McGeo because, yes, we were all surprised that the prescription increase is 21%. We have discussed this with McGeo, and we are going to use our excess reserves in the group insurance fund to reduce that increase by 10%. So it will be a 11.7% increase that we are passing on as opposed to a 21.7% increase. So we're using approximately 1.7 million out of the group insurance fund excess reserves to mitigate that large increase. So Mitra, you wanted to know what, and I'm sure everyone else wants to see an example or a sample of what that looks like in terms of dollar amounts. So there is a attachment B that shows the different categories. You know, Fraternal Order of Police, they pay a higher cost share, 77% paid by the commission and 23% paid by the employee. So looking at the largest increase, if you have family coverage for the prescription plan, it's a $10 increase over the 2024 biweekly premium. When we look at the United Healthcare point of service, because the prescription plan and the point of service were the two highest increases, it's an additional $42.49 per pay for a family coverage. For the non-represented, it's slightly less because they pay, in some cases, 15% or 20%. So for the prescription plan, someone with single coverage, $2.18 additional. For two-member, $4.36. For a family, an additional $6.54. For the POS, the point of service plan, for a single person, it's an additional $12.32. For two-member, $24.63, and for a family, $36.95. Any questions?
So are these rates fixed, or you're gonna check those and then you get back to us? I don't know.
No, these are the rates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are the rates. So are you gonna get back to us about off-label, drugs that if commission is just accept them to pay, or is it based on approval? I don't have an answer that how do we do it now, and if you're planning to change it.
Well, as I mentioned, we are working with Caremark to implement a program that will address the use of the GLP drugs. Plans are underway to implement Caremark's GLP-1 Smart Edit for drugs and weight management. And we're not going to wait till 2025. We're going to start that program October 1, 2024. I can give you more details about how that plan works, but we are addressing use of drugs for weight management as opposed to what it was intended for, which is the diabetes.
When you're saying you're addressing it, can you be more specific what that means?
Okay, so we're putting a program into place that is called a Smart Edit. So when the member presents a prescription at the pharmacy, it will go through what is called a prior authorization. So the doctor has to answer certain questions. They have to provide documentation that proves that this drug is being used. But before we even get to that, the pharmacy or Caremark will look at the individual's past history. If there has been a diagnosis of diabetes, the drug will be approved. If there is no diagnosis of diabetes in the person's past, I forget, 12 months, I don't know how far back they go, then it will be denied, or they will ask for more information from the provider, from the doctor, the prescribing doctor.
So they're going to look into it and they see that if it is medical reason, it's going to be approved. But if it is not medical reason, it would be denied.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
I've got a question to dovetail on that. So has any consideration been given that those people who may be using it for weight loss can pay a higher percentage for that drug so that the copay would be higher, so the drug would still be available. So what we pay would be less than what we pay for an employee who is diabetic.
No, no consideration has been given to that. We are looking at implementing some weight management programs for those individuals who may need help losing weight, but we're not going to change our copay structure to pay for those drugs.
And I don't think it's
may
the right
add-
thing to do either. I agree with the way that Jennifer is doing it. If someone wants to lose 5 or 10 pounds, it's healthier, it's better, it's more organic to go and do some hard work to lose some weight rather than just getting the medication.
Well, the problem is there's people that are borderline or they're pre-diabetic. So when I'm talking about you increase how much they would have to pay for the drug, and it would be much less than what the commission has to pay. I mean, so like a hybrid system. I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
I'm
So,
not,
Mr. Charles, yeah, this is, I think, it sounds like this is could be something we need to think through for the next time and how we look at
Right.
so
Mhm.
these types of drugs. And these are all great questions, and staff will look into this.
yeah.
And so if staff is there any more you have to present on this one item?
I believe I was at the end of my presentation.
May I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Artie, several of those drugs are FDA approved for weight loss. So we will cover them in that case. Is that correct? Because the semaglutides, I think Wegovy is the semaglutide. Those are approved for use in weight loss by the FDA, and we will cover that, correct?
Well, we will cover it if there are underlying conditions.
Okay.
I'll have to take a look and see what the criteria is
Okay.
for paying, because we just wouldn't pay it for anyone, but if there are underlying health conditions and someone is using the drug for weight loss, I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think Chair Harris's recommendation is good. I would like to hear more about this because there are multiple
Okay.
uses for those drugs that are FDA approved outside of diabetes, and multiple of those drugs have at this point been approved for the use in weight loss and weight management. So if that's the case, I would like to, we should cover them for medical reasons, including anything that they're prescribed for that's on label. So just I would like to hear about that next time.
I
Okay.
agree.
Sure. I will follow up.
Okay, great. Are there any other, Ms. McDonald, are you finished with your presentation?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the benefits program rate changes that Mr. Allen and Ms. McDonald spoke of?
So moved.
I'll second it.
A move by Vice Chair and a second by Mr. Giraldo. All in favor?
Chair Harris,
Aye.
Commissioner Bartley,
Aye.
Commissioner Hedrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Linden,
Aye.
Commissioner Pettaway,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shapiro,
Vote aye.
Commissioner Bailey,
But I.
Commissioner Giraldo,
I vote aye.
8-0. Thank you.
Yep, and Ms. McDonald, would you make sure you get back? There were some questions by the next commission meeting. Or you can
By the
sit
next
down.
meeting, yes.
Yep, all right, thank you so much. We're on our next item is the Central Administrative Services Cost Allocation. Ms. Charles is to present that this morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Again, my name is Terry Bacode Charles, and I'm the Corporate Budget Director. I'm before you this morning for the item, which is consideration of the approval of the CAS cost allocation for the FY26 budget. This represents the outcome of an annual analysis that determines the bi-county labor cost split for the 6 departments. The calculation method includes the use of the percentage of time allocated to each county as extracted from the time card system, as well as based on cost drivers, particularly impacting finance and DHRM, as well as agreed to 50-50 allocations, which apply to the merit board and corporate IT. Cost drivers for DHRM really reflect what the employee records activity has been. So literally it is assessment of the number of the PA2s that are processed. And for recruitment, it is the number of applications. So as you will later see, Montgomery County in this past year did have quite a bit more activity in a good way with regard to their recruitment efforts. Now, as described in the greater detail within the analysis, again, it compiles the labor data and it does it for a rolling 3-year average in an attempt to smooth individual year variations. The FY24 data was updated, and again, there was no changes in the methodology used, and we are recommending adoption of this year's results, which will shift additional costs to Montgomery County. If using the FY25 numbers as an estimation, it is an additional $300-some thousand. DHRM represents about $220,000 of it, and OIG represents about $76,000 of it. I do need to note, though, that this year's shift does also reflect the impact of an analysis omission in the current FY25 budgeted allocation. So basically, we are also seeing a catch-up effect, and that is what is. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Hear you now.
Okay. It's creating a catch-up effect that is impacting the proposed amount for DHRM and OIG. With that, I will pause and open the floor to questions. But again, we are recommending the adoption of this year's results.
Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, do you have the adopted number to share with us, that what was changed from last year to this year?
Within the analysis on I think it's in your packet on page 57, which is page 5 of the analysis. What you would be looking at would be.
I'm just trying to get that. Let me just
Okay.
to get it.
I'm sorry.
I have to go to it's
57.
page
It's- yes.
57.
57 in the packet,
Oh,
which
oh.
is page 5 in the analysis.
Okay, let me just get to page 57.
Why are you getting there, Mitra? Budget director, could you go over again what was the catch-up analysis, that piece? Could you explain what that was?
That was the situation where, and as if you're looking at page 57, it is literally, if you look at the column that at the bottom of the page, the second set of tables, and the second column in that reads FY21 to FY23.
Yep.
And then compare that to what is listed 2 columns over, FY25 budget. Let's look at DHRM, the very first one. That first column, which was last year's analysis, had Montgomery County at 42.1% and Prince George's County at 57.9%. What is in the FY25 budget is 41.7 and 58.3. That's what I'm referencing as the omission. I cannot speak to why the 42.1% was not applied, but it wasn't applied in our current budget. So then when you move over to the third column, which is the latest analysis, as opposed to the jump going from 42.1 to 43.8, we're experiencing the jump of 41.7 to 43.8, just because of the fact that FY25 did not track according to last year's 3-year rolling analysis. So that's what I'm referencing as the omission, which then creates a bit of a catch-up effect.
So
And you
this
can-
has been reviewed by the departments and are okay with that?
It has been shared with, the data has been shared with them, and there was the question which prompted me to try to figure out what occurred and why there was this divergence from last year's analysis to what was budgeted.
Yeah.
So yes, they have reviewed it, and they called my attention to the omission that occurred in FY25.
Yeah, the budget director did meet with the Parks and Planning, Government Parks and Planning, Commissioner Pedowin, and we had some discussions on this. Yes, it is having the 300,000. We'll have to figure out how to make that up, but we went over this and we understand why now because of this sort of this omission from the past.
That's something that hopefully the department has to, the Montgomery side has to look into to budget for the next fiscal year, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's a big amount. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the Central Administrative Service Cost Allocation for fiscal year 25 and the next, yes, fiscal year 25?
So move.
Second.
So, Mr. Giraldo moved and who seconded? I'm sorry. Ms. Bailey,
Really?
all in favor?
Chair Harris,
Aye.
Commissioner Bartlett,
Aye.
Commissioner Hedrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Linden,
Aye.
Commissioner Pedowin,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shapiro,
Vote aye.
Commissioner Bailey,
But aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
Vote aye.
8-0, thank you.
Great. Next, we're going to item number, we have going back to the 1C, which is what we're beneath down here. It's the controlled substance policy definition change, where Ms. Harvey and Mr. Beckham will present this morning. There's a minor change, but we wanted to make sure the board, the commission knew why we're recommending this change. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Beckham. I am the Corporate Policy and Archives Chief for the record. With me this morning is Jessica Homer with the Office of General Counsel. We have before the Commission a request to approve a definition change in the controlled substance policy. This is item 1C in your packet and can be found on circle page 19. So the Office of General Counsel, in their ongoing review of our policies, has found that the definition of impairment in our controlled substance policy needs to be updated to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. In particular, right now, it states that an impairment may be the result of either drug or alcohol dependency or abuse, or a physiological or a psychological or a physical disability or disorder. And so under the Americans with Disability Act, either a alcohol or drug dependency may be considered a disability. And likewise, those disabilities, as well as a neuropsychological or a physical disability, they would be evaluated under the Americans with Disabilities Act the same way, meaning that the agency would need to determine whether or not the employee can perform the essential job functions of that position with or without an accommodation. And so for those reasons, we're asking for the Commission's support to amend this definition to simply say that impairment may be the result of either alcohol or drug use, period, which would result in the inability of that employee to perform their job functions. So I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have, and we ask for your vote of approval. Thank you.
So I have a question. So when we define impairment, do we have to put in, if you look under the ADA, the person has to be in recovery, right?
My understanding is that for alcohol use, they do need to be in recovery. For substance abuse, I know that it is different, and I'll defer to Jessica to speak to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so for drug use, the person has to be in an active recovery program and off drugs. For alcohol abuse, the person, there's a variety of ways that can show up. So, but in general, there are some caveats within the ADA. If a person uses alcohol, not on the job, obviously that would be a different conversation. But if a person uses alcohol and is going through an addiction program and has a slip up, that doesn't automatically result in termination if it happens off the job, right? So there's a little more leeway with alcohol than there is with drugs within the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Oh, I thank you for that. But my question is, where we have the impairment, do we need to put in there that they have to be in recovery? That's my question, or no?
I think that the pragmatic answer of this policy change and the definition change is that whether they're in alcohol use because of recovery or not, if they're impaired at work, it's a problem. So I think going into the technicalities of impairment is further than we need to go.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners? None being heard, do I have a motion for approval of the controlled substance policy definition change?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Giraldo, second by Commissioner Bailey. Do I, all in favor?
Chair Harris,
Aye.
Commissioner Bartley,
Aye.
Commissioner Hedrick,
Aye.
Commissioner Linden,
Aye.
Commissioner Pettaway,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shapiro,
Aye.
Commissioner Bartley, I'm sorry, Commissioner Bailey,
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo,
I vote aye.
8-0, thank you.
Thank you all. And then we're next on the officers' reports, the executive director's report. There are two this month, the MFD quarterly purchasing statistics for information only, and the quarterly budget transfers report for information only. If there are no questions or comments, we'll move on, but just, okay, hearing none, well, there's no secretary's treasurer's report scheduled for this month. We're going to our last item of the open session, general counsel, where we have the litigation report for information only. If there are any comments or questions, and also we have the general counsel here to talk about our MACO conference. So if there are any comments or questions on the litigation report, if none, welcome, general counsel board.
Thank you. Deborah Gordon for the record, general counsel. Just want to give a very brief report on how we did at MACO. It was a resounding success. We had a huge participation throughout the commission. Both Montgomery and Prince George's helped us with the booth. The booth was an absolute amazing booth that everybody loved. And thank you very much to Montgomery Park's exhibit staff led by Christopher Ye. They did a phenomenal job, and we hope that we can do this again next year. It was a great thing for us to do as one commission. We all came together and we had a wonderful, wonderful experience at MACO, talking with people, talking up the commission, meeting with elected officials, their staff, as well as many people from the state government. And we got nothing but praise for our creativity and, of course, our wonderful swag. So I just want to say we really had a wonderful time, and I just want to share with you a little picture montage of our wonderful, there, can you see that? Okay, so that's just a snapshot of the various folks who stopped by our booth, the people who helped with our booth, and just everyone having a wonderful experience. So hopefully you can support us doing that again. It was great. And like I said, it was a really a good experience for all of us to come together and have participation in that booth. I believe it's the first time the full commission has ever done a booth at NACO. So thank you very much. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Question, Ms. Board?
Yes.
Is that our two planning directors doing karaoke? Is that what I see?
It is. We tried to keep the secret, but had to include that. They did, like I said, such a wonderful job. And we had, this great one commission vibe going on. So I just think it was really special for us to do that together.
Wonderful.
I second that. I was there and just had a wonderful time meeting our state delegates and senators and bonding with our commissioners, both the Montgomery and Prince George's side. So thank you, everyone. So this ends all our items on the open session. What we'll do is we'll go to closed session and then come back and establish to end our commission meeting today. So pursuant to the Maryland General Provisions article of the annotated Code of Maryland, Section 3-305B, 1, 9, and 14, a closed session is proposed to discuss a confidential personnel matter to discuss before a contract is awarded or bids are opened, a matter directly related to a negotiating strategy or the contents of a bid or proposal. If public discussion or discourse would adversely impact the ability of a public body to participate in the collective bidding or proposal process, and to consider matters relating to a collective bargaining negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police bargaining units to preserve the commission's negotiating position. So we'll go into close. Do I have a motion?
So moved. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Chair
Aye.
Harris.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartlett,
Aye.
Commissioner Hedrick.
Aye.
Commissioner Linden,
Aye.
Commissioner Pettaway,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shapiro,
But aye.
Commissioner Bailey,
But aye.
Commissioner Geraldo,
I vote aye.
8-0. Thank you.
So we'll go into closed session within 5 minutes and then we'll come back in approximately an hour. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.